Hello, my lovely people. Welcome back to another video. I feel like I haven't done a sit down chat with you guys in forever, especially not like this because it is around like 10:30 at night and I finished work, got home, put on my pajamas, and I'm about to make dinner and chill for the night. But I just really felt like chatting with you guys. So, firstly, genuinely, I just want to say I hope you're all doing well and you're doing okay. I know things can be very tough, and yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of unhappy people at the moment. And I know there's always been unhappy people, and life has always had its ups and downs and challenges, and there's always something going on, but it just feels like at the moment, in particular, like people are just very unhappy. A lot of people have forgotten how to hold like a conversation. And when I say that, I guess I mean as well, like a lot of people are forgetting how to just listen. So personally, I feel like having a conversation, like a huge part of having an actual interesting, meaningful, or even like, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a life changing conversation, but a conversation you want to be in and having. In order to be having that, I personally feel like a huge part that makes it be that way is the people in that conversation being able to listen and actually listen to what you're saying before responding. And I'm not sure if this is because social media has become a huge part of most people's lives, and I can't talk because I'm sat here basically talking to a camera right now, but I feel like I'm talking to you guys because I know you guys are going to listen to this. But yeah, I know I can't exactly talk, but I like to think when it comes to actually talking to people in person, I am a very good listener. And I genuinely want to find out about the other person. But I feel like maybe is it because a lot of people have like social media platforms these days and stuff, and you get used to just yourself talking to the camera, saying what you want to say, and then you don't actually have to let someone else talk because then you just upload it and then people just like listen to it. So it's literally a lot of us just sat here talking to ourselves, being able to say exactly what we want without being interrupted, and then you guys will listen and then you can just comment like whatever response you want or whatever. I don't know whether it's because we're kind of in a reality where that is becoming the norm at the moment. So people are then forgetting how to hold an actual conversation in person. Like, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's many things that factor in. But I do think that could be a huge, huge part of the problem with people just not being able to listen in a conversation, in a day to day conversation. And I do think this is a lot of the reason why people feel lonely, because a lot of people don't have someone in their life who they feel like will listen to them and therefore hold a proper conversation, like where you can actually speak to one another. Like, I've been in situations where I'm trying to talk and I would have listened for a while to the other person, and then I go to respond, and then suddenly the person will be like, oh, I've just got to quickly do this, or they're suddenly in a rush after they've said everything that they wanted to say, and then you go and respond, but suddenly then they've got to go or they're in a rush, you know, that type of thing. Or another example would be when you are trying to add in your response or your two piece to the conversation, but then they just like, it's as if, you know, you want to be like, hello, can you hear me? Hello. But they like just keep talking and talking over you, and then you just like want to just give up in the end and then not even have that conversation with that person. You end up walking away from it because it's like frustrating, or it's just like, what is the point in this? Like, this isn't a two-way thing, like you're just talking at me. And then like another example would be where like they are listening, but like they don't want to accept what you are saying. So it's like they act as if they don't clearly understand what you're saying, and they re-ask the question or whatever it is, and you're like, I've literally just told you, are you not listening to me? But actually a lot of the time it's because they just don't want that to be the answer, so they won't accept that, so they'll continue to ask the question until they get like the answer or the response that they want. And then with all of these things happening, people give up on conversation, on normal conversation. People give up on trying to ask people, about their day, their dreams, what they've been up to. People just don't want the small talk anymore, because quite often it just turns into like someone talking over you, or they're just like, they've said their piece of the conversation and they're looking down at their phone. So yeah, I do think that social media definitely has its role to play in this, because so much stuff is online these days, like especially during COVID and when we all went into lockdown, we had to learn how to communicate online. Um, and it is different. It is different than holding an in-person conversation. So I do think that that's an element to it, but I don't want to completely blame social media, because as you guys know, like, I post on social media. I love it. I think it's also a great way to get messages across, and show off your talents. And it's great for business and things like that. So I don't want to, yeah, I do think social media plays into this partly. But I also think a huge part of the problem is the fact that people don't take rules seriously anymore. People don't respect one another like we used to. Many people have become so narrow-minded and closed off, and they truly are just thinking about how things are impacting them rather than the bigger picture at times. And of course, there are definitely times when you need to put yourself first and take care of yourself. You don't want to get walked over, etc., etc. But I do think a lot of that kind of stuff has gone to the other extreme, where now, as I say, people don't respect one another. People just think they can do what the hell they want. If people aren't getting the answer or response they want, as I say, they don't listen, they shut down, they're not willing to have a conversation about it to make it better. They just shut down, they get angry and get hateful, and then people wonder why people feel lonelier than ever at the moment. And it's like all of these things factoring in, and it's like simple, really. Like, it's actually so simple, but some people aren't really helping themselves, and they're bringing it upon themselves with the way they talk to one another. And maybe, as this video is about, maybe they talk a bit too much and they don't hear somebody out, and they haven't allowed themselves to stay open-minded and, like I said, at least hear someone out, and sometimes the best thing you can do is just let something be. And I think people really struggle with that concept at the moment. As I say, a lot of people have become so about how something makes them feel, rather than just accepting, okay, this is the rules, this is this, and then going from there, just like being flexible and adjust in certain situations. It seems like as time goes on, people are less willing to put aside their differences. It seems to me like more and more people are like, they're acting strange, that's for sure. But like, if they find one thing out about somebody that they don't agree with, they either become hateful and try and push their agenda on that person, their beliefs on that person, or they just cut that person out. And to me, unless it's like someone super, super unhealthy in your life, you don't need to cut everyone and everything out just because a bit of that thing or that person is bad. Like, people are so quick to shut someone out if they find out they share a slightly different belief to them. You don't need to do that. Like, I'm sure there's still loads of other things you guys have in common and get along on. You don't have to agree with everything and everyone to be able to hold a conversation with them. So that's kind of tying into the listening thing and having a proper conversation. Like, the minute someone finds out that, as I say, a certain belief or whatever it is different to them, it has to be turned into like some heated debate. And it's like, just hear each other out, just talk. You might learn something, or let it go. It's okay. You don't have to always be right. It's okay to say, do you know what, actually I was wrong this time. Yeah, that's right, that's a good point. Yeah, just bloody take some accountability and listen. Before you go and comment on someone's life or someone's situation, especially when they're at like their lowest point, actually, to be honest, just don't say anything, because you don't need to, because it's nothing to do with you. But if you can't keep your mouth shut and you have to say something, at least look at all of the facts first and know the situation. Stop spreading so much hate, and this happens online so much, to somebody who's not bloody doing anything wrong at all, but you just want to be a little troll because you're not happy with yourself. But yeah, at least find out everything first. Stop just like straight away jumping on something and commenting on something before you even know. Like, before you've even looked into it yourself. Things can be deceiving. Like, you can see one clip online or see, get prejudge a person and stuff. And you could actually end up really liking this person, or realize, oh, okay, actually, yeah, shit, like, just like stop knocking people down when they're already down, or shitting on people for trying to better themselves. It all plays into it. But the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video is the fact that people just don't really listen anymore. And it's really underrated, listening, because it's a huge part of being able to hold an actual good conversation. Is actually so beneficial, because you can learn so much by just sitting and listening, and opening up your mind, rather than staying just narrow-minded and whatever I think or say is right, and that's that, and I'm not going to be friends or talk to anyone that thinks any differently. Yeah, it just seems like there is a lot of evil going around, and yeah, it's a bit insane really, isn't it? But anyway, I am very tired. It is late and I need to go and eat, and I've probably like rambled and not made my points exactly how I wanted to, but as I said, I'm very tired, so I am gonna go and eat now and chill for the night. And I love you all lots, and I hope you're doing good, and I will see you in the next one.